Hello, this is Pastor Stan Lubeck. So glad that you've joined us today. I love coaching pastors and Christian leaders and Christian businessmen. Actually, I coach anybody. I coach people whether they know Jesus or not, because I believe that God's principles work in any business and any environment. Well, today I want to talk about something that's dear to my heart, and so I thought I would focus my attention today on coaching pastors and elders and deacons in the church. And I want to focus on this issue of healthy hospitality. You know, Hebrews 11:2 tells us that we are to practice hospitality. What is hospitality? Hospitality is love of strangers. So I want to just take a few minutes to address this and think about how can we make the church as healthy of an environment for those guests that come into our churches for the first time, second time, third time. How can we lead them? How can we love them? How can we help them to take their next step in their spiritual growth process? And so whether you're a pastor, an elder, or a staff member, I hope that this webinar will help you in thinking about all the elements that are possible for you as you lead your church and create this kind of an environment. Okay, so let's consider what people see when they come for the first time as first-time guests to your church. And the first thing to consider is, we want to have a welcoming environment. What does that look like when people walk onto the campus? And then secondly, we're going to look at what it means to have a worship service that is, in essence, seeker sensitive, caring about those that are brand new. Once people send us a connect card and we enter the data, what do we do with that? And what are the follow-up processes that we have in place so that those who want to get connected can get connected quickly and efficiently? So let's look at the welcoming environment. First of all, we need to look at our website. Does it make sense? Is it clear when the services are? Does it explain what to wear? And even does it give the location of the church? These are things that are so important for somebody who's brand new, and oftentimes people look at the website long before they come and attend. Then secondly, once they show up in the parking lot, what can they expect? Are there signs that make it clear where to park, where there's guest parking? Do you have people in the parking lot that can answer questions and direct people where to go to find the worship service or to find the children's ministry so they can check their children in? Is there a welcome kiosk that's easily found so that people can get their questions answered and get any information about the church that they want to receive? And then thirdly, child check-in. We often don't think about the fact that the way we check children in gives a strong indication to parents whether or not we're going to take care of the kids once they drop them off and they go to the worship service. So all these things are important for the very first step of somebody coming to our churches. Then secondly, they walk into the worship service. Do we have a bulletin for them or a handout? What's the first thing that we want to put in their hand that gives them information about the church? Are the greeters well prepared? Do they know how to greet people well and smile? I've seen some greeters that are so busy talking to each other that when people come walking in the doors of the church, they're not even greeted. So we have to train these greeters. What do we want them to say? How do we want them to respond? And who are your best, most gregarious people in the church that can function as greeters? And then the connection card, where people can write their prayer requests. They can indicate whether they're a first, second, or third time visitor. And then I like to have gifts. Do we have a free gift? Whether it's a cup of coffee or a plant or something representing the church is a good idea. And then we need to consider what we do with the connection cards once we get them, that we respond immediately to requests. If there's a prayer request, let me put this out here. If there are prayer requests, or there's a desire for baptism or spiritual questions, or they want to volunteer for a ministry, or they want to become a member of the church, we need to respond to these immediately within 1 day or 2 days. The sooner we can respond, the more that they know that we care about them. And so you need to think about your process. Do you have a prayer team that can call these people up and pray for them? Do you have a baptism team that can say, hey, here's the next baptism? Somebody should be responding to these requests right away to say, hey, this is the date for the next baptism, and this is the next baptism class, and we will inform you when it gets closer, but we would love to have you participate. And then any spiritual questions that you have, maybe you have some great theologians in the church that can answer the questions that people have. And then if they want to volunteer, there should be regular volunteer training coming up, as well as membership classes. Okay, let me close that. Then if they're a first-time guest, I have a letter for those that are first-time guests out of town, because basically that letter just says, so glad that you came, and love you, care about you, hope you come back when you're in town. That's about the extent of that letter. Now, if they're a first-time person that's in town, well, if they're in town, I'm going to sick them. I want to invite them to our pastor's dessert. I want them to know about our small groups and invite them to get connected to a small group. I always would try to have a new group starting for new people, and then a membership class. Pretty much we had membership classes once a month, and so there was always a membership class coming up, given the current date of the next upcoming membership class. And then I'd send them an email saying, hey, love to get feedback, what you thought, what you saw. Is there anything that we need to do better to help people be greeted and to show hospitality to those that are here for the first time? And then second-time guests, I always say if somebody comes for a second time, that indicates that they enjoyed the church and they want to get more. And so that's a big indicator. If somebody comes once and never comes again, you know, that's one thing. But if somebody comes a second time, that tells you that they liked what they saw the first time. They want to come back. So I would encourage the pastor to write a handwritten invitation to a pastor's dessert. Usually I'd have a pastor's dessert after church on certain Sundays. And then we'd also have membership classes, and I'd even send them with this note a free cup of coffee. I would send out an email on my story, pastor's story. What is God doing in my life? What's his call on my life? What do I enjoy about ministry? What are some of my hobbies, so that they can get to know me as a person? And then third-time guests, that tells you that they really want to get connected. It's a big indicator. So if somebody marks down that they're a third-time guest, I want to make sure that I, as a pastor, if I can call them myself, if I can touch them, but I would also email them a church story, you know, our church story, what the background is, and then next steps that they could take to get involved in ministry. So these contact cards and these ways of getting connected to the church are so essential for following up on those that visit us for the first time. And I like to say, if we don't take good care of those who are coming to us, why should God send any more? So I hope that helps. That should stir up some good conversations with your staff if you watch this video. And so God's best to you. Bye for now.